What's up, metalheads? Welcome to the Thrash Can. Tonight, the three of us in the house again. We are graced with the presence of Mr. Andy Arenas. I don't know how we keep getting this lucky, but it's always a good time having him in here. You know, the three of us talk about metal a lot, but Andy's just got this mind for everything. The guy's just into it all, and I love having him here. I love him being a friend, and it's just good times. And then we got the ever so brilliant Jimmy over here.
I wouldn't go that far, but thank you, sir.
Know him. You've had to put up with him for a few episodes here. And of course, I'm JT, the guy who knows absolutely nothing about any of these fucking bands we talk about. But I do it anyway because I love it. Well, what's up, everybody? How you guys doing tonight?
We're good. Yep. Good.
What up? What up?
A lot of rain.
Yeah. It's been a monsoon over here, man. It's
it's been the second coming of Noah.
Yeah, I think they said by the end of this weekend we're supposed to have somewhere around 6.5 to 7 inches of rain here in Rolla.
Wow, we had that yesterday.
It's insane. I don't even know how I'm going to swim to work. Actually, fortunately for me, I'm up on top of a hill, so I don't never have to worry about getting flooded. If it floods at my house, they better call NOAA because the entire world is flooded.
Yeah, I was about to say, you got like a several 100-foot drop off.
Yeah.
I'm on a hill too. I don't get flooded, but it's flooding around me. Like I had to take a super long way to get to Jim's house. Yeah.
Well, and like you have to drive past that lake and stuff. I mean, is that ever a problem?
No, I just live out in the country, and a lot of roads are flooded, so I had to take a long way, like a super out of the way, bizarre way to get here.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
An extra 50.
Well, right on. Well, welcome into the studio, everybody. If you've watched our show before, which to this point you probably haven't watched any of them, but if you've seen us before, you know what we do. You know why we're here. Tonight we're pulling out another classic from the thrash metal archive. And Andy, why don't you tell us who we're talking about tonight?
Talking about the band Vio Lence from San Francisco.
Oh, the mighty Vio Lence.
Thrash metal band Vio Lence.
You know, very cool. When I started going through this, I'm going to tell you, I had quite a few dumbass moments because I didn't realize that there were certain people that started this band and were in this band, and it kind of blew my mind. I remember listening to them. Well, so Vio Lence was never big on my radar. You know, my buddy Steve, he was into them. I remember when he got this particular album, and just so you guys know, we're talking about the album Eternal Nightmare, which is their debut album.
Yes.
And I remember when Steve got this album, we listened to it quite a bit. But I'll be honest with you, I don't know that I've actually listened to this album since 89, 90, somewhere around in there. It's not that I don't like them. It just, they never were on my radar. Good band, but there were some shocking things when I started reading up about, you know, the members that have come and gone.
This band has had a lot of Murphy's Law with regards to trying to make it. Like there's just been lots of setbacks that either shouldn't have happened or couldn't have happened for most other bands.
Yeah. We'll just give you a quick rundown of the band itself. Vio Lence is an American thrash metal band formed in 1985 in the San Francisco Bay Area. For those of you that don't know, and for those of you that do, we're gonna tell you anyway. Vio Lence was actually, well, never mind. We're not gonna get into that. Sorry. Let me backtrack here. Vio Lence is best known for their association with the 1980s Bay Area thrash metal scene and often credited as one of the leading lights of the second wave of the genre. That's interesting to me because I don't really ever look at that as a first wave or a second wave, because I was like thrust into the middle of all of it, you know. Because when they talk about this, they're considered to be a member of the Big Six, and that was with Exodus, Testament, Death Angel, Law's Rocket, and Forbidden. And Forbidden plays a little bit into violence here. We're going to talk a little bit about that. But to me, like, you had your upper bands that were out there doing it big time, and then you had the lower, I don't know, I guess the lower tier of stuff that a lot of me and my buddies were listening to, you know, those bands that were not Metallica. Yeah, you know.
Right. Yeah,
you know, and that's where a lot of these guys originated. They all kind of, you know, broke their music chops together.
Oh, yeah.
And therefore, it's really interesting when we go through a lot of these bands. The one thing that I notice is like the amount of members that are like, oh my God, that guy's more famous than God, was in a band, you know, that really was nothing but, I'm not talking about violence, but, you know, they were in a very small band that, you know, everybody's got to get their start somewhere. And just sometimes that happens whenever I read through some of these bands, and I'm like, oh, holy shit, I never realized that guy was in that band.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we know who I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So who I'm talking about, and I guess I never really realized, I had no idea that Rob Flynn was a part of this band.
Really?
And
I knew that from way back then.
Yeah, that was.
I had no idea. I never was a big Violence fan.
Well,
I never owned any of their. I never owned any of their stuff. I got into Rob Flynn during Forbidden.
Okay, but for us, like, we knew about Violence, and when he formed Machine Head, it was like, wow, it's Rob from Violence doing Machine Head.
Yeah,
you know, because everyone knew. You know,
and seeing for me, it was the whole Forbidden thing. You know.
See, I didn't find out about the Forbidden connection until after Machine Head. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. See, we knew about Forbidden because a lot of us guys were listening to them.
I mean, I knew about Forbidden, but I didn't know.
Right. Was one of the founding members of that band.
Yeah,
you know,
he wasn't on the first Forbidden record.
But I didn't realize that until after.
Right.
The fact.
Right. But yeah, so I knew about him from Forbidden and never even knew he was in Violence. And that kind of blew my mind when I started reading through some of this stuff. I had to backtrack. I was like, what? Wait, what the fuck?
I don't know if you ever listened to Zetro's podcast, the Toxic Vault, but there's a 2-parter with Craig LaCicero.
Yeah.
And he talks about day one and how everything starts in order on how they got formed. And there's a lot of stuff spoken about Rob in there and the Forbidden stuff early on and how he left. You know, it's almost 2 hours of talking.
I read about some of that because, you know, he was here and he did this, and like he did the first 2 albums, right?
He did the first 3 records, but he was out a year before the 3rd record was released.
Yeah.
Okay, see, I thought he did not record on the 3rd record, but he had wrote some of the songs on it.
It was in the can for a year before it got released.
Okay.
Because they had label problems, like severe. That was right after Nirvana came out and everything was crashing, you know, for heavy stuff. Right. So they were getting all sorts of grief from the label because they were still playing heavy music. Plus, they were trying to kind of commercialize what they were doing, and in doing so, losing some of their hardcore fans. Right.
Okay.
Violence was always one of the more brutal bands of that whole scene.
And it's funny now that you say that, I see that here because it talks about Phil Demmel and Rob Flynn, you know, Dean Dell on bass, Perry Strickland on drums, and of course Sean Killian on vocals. And this lineup recorded all 3 of their studio albums: Eternal Nightmare in '88, Opposing the Masses in '90, and Nothing to Gain in '93.
Yeah,
and then they broke up in '94.
See how long it was from 90 to 93? Like the complete everything changed in that time frame.
Yeah.
Like as far as the scene, the whole music business, basically.
Yeah, I mean that was the dying out of like thrash and hair metal, and then alternative grunge was
The grunge was coming in.
And that was
Yeah.
right before the new metal was starting to spawn from bands that
Right.
spawn new metal. Everybody's trying to change black albums. People are trying to do their own black album.
Countdown to Extinction was even more commercialized, even though it's a good record.
Absolutely.
Exodus, Force of Habit, and Testament, the Ritual, and everybody was trying to do something they thought would sell more.
And sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. Sometimes artistically it worked, and sometimes it didn't.
Right.
Yeah. Just a little bit about the early career of Violence. Violence, when they initially formed, they were called Death Penalty. They formed in 1985 with the lineup of lead guitarist Phil Demmel, drummer Perry Strickland, rhythm guitarist Troy Fua, and lead vocalist Jerry Burr, and bassist Eddie Billy, which, interestingly enough, is the brother of musicians Andy and Chuck Billy. Whoa. Not long after playing their first gig, which reportedly took place at a house party, Death Penalty changed their name to Violence, and eventually then to Violence with the hyphen, as the former was taken by another band. So looks like they recorded two demos in 86, and then they parted ways with Burr, Fua, and Billy, who were replaced by Sean Killian, Rob Flynn, formerly of Forbidden Evil, and Dean Dell. Crazy. It's crazy when you think back and, like I said earlier.
That whole scene was so incestuous if you think about it.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's what I'm saying.
That scene was like, for good bands, it was like 12 bands deep of having good thrash coming out at the same time.
Right.
And nobody sounded the same either.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, everybody was different. And which is amazing because you had so many guys jumping from band to band, they started here and then they moved here, and they were replaced by, I mean, you look at somebody like Kirk Hammett came from a band, came from Exodus.
Yep.
To go to Metallica, them two bands sound nothing alike.
And what was the guitar player from Possessed?
Larry Lalonde.
Lalonde is in Primus. Has been in Primus.
Yeah. Yeah, that's completely different.
Yeah.
Also, Hammett.
It's even a different genre almost.
Hammett and Lalonde had the same teacher, Mr. Satriani.
Wow. Yeah.
And also, this record had the same producer as Joe Satriani for his first few records that made him famous, Surfing with the Alien, Flying in a Blue Dream, John Kuberninti.
What a great album.
I never could pronounce it correctly, but you get it.
Yeah.
He was a Bay Area guy that worked in recording studios, worked with a lot of the thrash bands. I've heard Exodus worked with him also.
I did not know that.
That's crazy. So,
surprised you didn't know
that. What is that? John Canaberte?
Yeah, I can never pronounce it.
John Canaberte is what it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. It's kind of funny, like whenever you look this album up on, say, Wikipedia, which is what I'm looking at now. Thank you, Wikipedia, for the info. When you look this up on here, it shows that there was a bonus disc with this that must have come out at a different time.
It was.
And it doesn't tell me what time that came out.
Is it this?
Oh, I'm sorry. It was in 2005. It does tell me. It says there was a re-release of the album, includes a bonus CD of the Thrash of the Titans concert.
Yeah, I was going to say the Chuck Billy benefit.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's when.
That's right. I had missed that paragraph.
That show ended up spawning a lot of bands' comebacks, actually.
Yeah.
Including Violence, Death Angel, and some others.
That was one thing that was interesting too, was the fact that Violence has tried to get back together several times, and they'll do like a one-off show here or there, and the only the only constant member now is Sean Killian.
Sean Killian. Actually, I seen them going on 2 years ago now at Milwaukee Metal Fest.
Well, remember,
Really?
Sean had that cancer for a bit too, and that kind of derailed him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he ended up getting liver cancer.
Yep.
He got liver cancer and survived it. At one point, I was reading an article. They said he had stage 3 liver cancer, and somehow he ended up surviving it. I don't know. It never said. I don't know if he got a transplant or just what happened there. But
yeah, I don't know the details either. But he's a very intelligent person, so he probably did whatever he needed to get that taken care of. But something else of note about this record too is it charted, the only one of their records to ever chart on the top Billboard 200 at 154.
That's cool.
In 1988.
So
I did. Okay. So I just saw that in here. The one thing that I do remember is this album actually sold more copies than their other 2 albums.
Yeah. This also had a lot more buzz going on about it at the time.
Yeah.
I remember seeing stuff in the magazines before they were even released.
yeah, there was the Mechanics demo giveaway that his brother actually had one, and I ended up buying it from him years ago.
Do you remember what tracks were on there?
Not really. There was only Bodies on Bodies, I think. That's the only one I can. There's only like
3 songs.
3
Right?
songs, maybe. Going on Command. I don't remember. But yeah, that was from the giveaway.
That was
giveaway like 1,000, 2,000.
About, I think it was almost 7,000. But it was through Hit Parader.
Yeah.
And you had to sign up. Send a self-addressed stamped envelope, and put your name and all this for a free demo. There was that band and like 1 or 2 others that were inside that promo. And my brother's like, oh, I'll send away for this. Why not? And then he'd heard about them and ended up really loving it. Then when he got rid of all his cassettes, Andy ended up bouncing.
And then I've sold my cassettes 20-some years ago now. And I wish I still had that tape.
Yeah, so, I thought I had run across that Mechanics thing. Yeah, go ahead, man.
So tell us your first exposure to Violence again.
So my first exposure to Violence was this album. Was with Steve Russell. He was guitar player in my band. Steve and I grew up together, and he turned me on to a lot of different music, along with a lot of my other friends and stuff. And I remember he got this, and back in the day, me and Steve used to, partake a little bit. And what we would do is we would just jump in either my car or his car, and we'd have a handful of cassettes. We'd throw them in the tape deck and just cruise all night long listening to thrash metal. And I remember when he got this album, we went out and listened to the shit out of it. And I remember liking it. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm not a huge fan of Killian's voice, but honestly, it's not his voice. It's now when I listen to it, it's his
delivery.
His delivery. That's exactly it. It's so fast and chaotic that it's like,
it's not rhythmic by any stretch.
No, not at all. And it kind of, I'm not knocking this album at all or him. I mean, what he did on this was fantastic, but
it just grows on you.
Yeah, for sure. It's an acquired. It's either you love them or you hate them.
Absolutely. There's a lot of bands like that. A lot of people couldn't stand Sacred Reich, and I love them guys,
But
and they were the same kind of style.
I liked him when I first heard him, but his vocals were, I was kind of always like, I like Violence, but the vocals are kind of eh. But over the years,
absolutely.
I don't know, I love him now because it's so unique and it's so, like you said, you either love him or hate him, and his tone and, his voice in general is just unique, and his delivery is unique. But to me, that gave him like a punk rock vibe to him.
It set them apart from everybody else.
Yeah, it was so different, and I grew to really love it,
They actually talked about them in that documentary, Murder in the Front Row.
Mm-hmm. I got that, actually.
Yeah, dude, awesome documentary.
Nobody sounds like him. Like he is unique.
No, not at all. Not at all. And like I said, guys, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad. It's different, you know. And for me, it's even now when I listen to it now, it's like, it's kind of rough, you know. I don't know that it's something that I could listen to on a constant basis, you know.
I love it.
I was that way at
the
first,
music,
but the more I listen to it,
phenomenal.
The more I listen to it, though, the more I can really get into his vocals. But I felt the same way you did when I was first listening to it.
So me and Jim, I think, I mean, you said your brother ordered that. You've heard of them.
Yeah.
But me and Jim really kind of got exposed to them. I'm speaking for him, on the Hard and Heavy Speed and Thrash Metal Special cassette, VHS cassette. And we got exposed to a lot of thrash bands, Creator and Laws Rocket and Annihilator and Creator and so on and so forth.
And that was the compilation of just all this thrash and stuff.
So Violence was one of those bands. That's how I got exposed to them, and maybe Jim too, I would assume, for the most part. I mean, you heard of them already, but there
was no internet back then.
Yeah, so that's how I got exposed to them. And funny story, because of Violence, I got exposed to the band Trouble. You know who Trouble is?
Yep.
So, I had we watched that VHS tape all the time. There's all these thrash bands. And I remember Violence was just crazy and heavy. And I thought, man, what was the name of that band? I was in the store, Radio Shack, back in the day. And I'm like, what was the name of that? It was like one word. And I seen Trouble. I'm like, I think that was it. So I bought Trouble thinking it was Violence.
Yeah.
And that's how I got turned on to Trouble. But I was looking for Violence. But yeah, that's and Violence, like I said, I liked. Same with Jim. And then the more his vocals grew on me, the more now I love it. It's just like so unique and it's just classic, in my opinion.
Yeah. So you talk about the albums they put out, and in this article that I've been looking at, they talk a lot about that Thrash of the Titans benefit, for Chuck Billy and stuff. It said, in 2005, they re-released Eternal Nightmare. The band also released a 7-inch vinyl record containing 2 demo tracks from the original 1986 demo tape, as well as 1 previously unreleased track. What's interesting is there were only 1,000 copies were produced and pressed by Bone Crusher Records. The 7-inch collectible was well marketed and advertised, but due to disagreements between the band and the Bone Crusher record producers, only Violence was allowed to distribute and sell the 500 copies that they were given. And a deal was made to distribute a small quantity, about 100, through a Seattle record store. That's crazy. So there's 1,000 7-inch vinyl records out there that have got to be worth something.
Good thing.
I thought that was interesting. And the fact that they made 1,000 copies of this, but they only let the band have 500 copies. What did they do with their 500 copies? They just throw them away? What the hell? Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. But, a lot to be said here. A lot of these guys have been around the block. Several of them have been in other bands, big bands.
I remember at one point, whenever they had Tom Hunting go down in Exodus, Perry had to jump in for a tour in like 89, I think it was. What was that, Impact, I think?
89 would have been
Fabulous. Fabulous
came out in 89. Fabulous came out in 89.
I thought they came out 88. Okay. Either way. So he had to jump in and fill in for him on part of the tour. And they said because I saw this in the documentary, he said whenever, he was used to basically Exodus was at a level higher than those guys as far as how they got treated, what stuff they got on the road, that type of stuff, having a roadie to do his stuff for him. And then when he goes back to Violence and they didn't have any of that stuff, he kind of was like just bummed, like severely bummed out. It's like, man, what the fuck am I doing? It's kind of the way he presented it.
Yeah.
A great replacement, though, because their styles are so similar.
I would agree.
Straight up super heavy thrash style, Kind of Dave Lombardo influenced.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they say Hunting's pretty much credited with starting that genre because he was like the first one of those guys playing that real fast, kick snares.
Yeah, and the fast drum rolls,
and
drum fills.
Yeah, and Perry sounds very similar to that.
Yeah,
so.
They're very similar drumming styles.
And he's not much younger.
Yeah. Perfect replacement.
God, I ran into something in here. I was trying to find it again. I couldn't find it, but it looked like there was a cover group or a cover band formed. And I think it was Phil Demmel that did this cover band and ended up, they were doing like 70s, old 70s metal tunes. And Bobby Blitz was the singer.
Don't know.
I ran across that in here. Now I can't find it again. I was gonna talk about that.
Now I know recently Phil is in that new band Category 7.
Yeah, I saw that. It's kind of crazy. I pulled him up and it was talking about him, had, been with other artists such as Violence, Torque, Metal Alliance, Kerry King, and Category 7.
Slayer
and he briefly was Slayer, Nonpoint, Overkill, Lamb of God, and Testament as a fill-in guitarist.
Nonpoint?
Yeah, Lamb of God hired him during COVID.
You got to be a good fucking guitar player to get in with some of them guys.
Oh, yeah, totally. And I wondered how that all went down because they had Bobby Gustafson in the band for a minute. And
that's right.
Then, he's going to work with Overkill, and Bobby, I just saw him throw a post up on Facebook the other day, still bashing those guys.
Yeah, I know.
So it's like they're like that bridge never got mended. So I'm wondering how that all went down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah, when I seen Violence at Milwaukee Metal Fest in 2023, it was Sean Killian, of course, but it was Phil Demmel was there. I'm not sure if he was officially in the band then.
Was he with them?
He was. Oh, Machine Head was there too. So
yeah, he was playing with them. Yeah,
and so he. So when I seen him, I seen Phil Demmel and Sean. They were the only two original members.
Right.
But they tore it up at on the rave stage. That was my highlight of the Metal Fest for sure.
Oh, I bet.
Christian Odell Wolvers would have been on bass for that.
So I'd never seen him before, so
for that show.
Yeah, I am relatively certain I have never seen Violence live. I've been to a lot of shows and I've been to some bigger. Well, I mean, I've been to Milwaukee before, and Milwaukee was. I absolutely loved going to that show, but there was so much going on. It's like it's hard to remember everybody that you saw.
Yeah.
And some people, it's like you may have 2 or 3 bands that you're just dying to see, and they're all playing at the same time.
Yep.
So you're just cruising from room to room trying to catch it all,
I had an itinerary like a nerd.
Yeah. I remember when Lael and I went, that's how we did it too. We printed off all the sheet and we were circling, these are the bands I want to see. I want to see these. I want to see these. And we just kind of had a path
to
go through.
The last 2 years I went, I did on my phone. But.
The years that I used to go up there, they would print quarter-page ads that would have a listing of all the bands, like their set times, and then you could just, check off which ones you wanted to go see off what stage.
Right.
It's more organized now, like the newer ones. I went to the last. It's way more organized.
Is Jamie Josta still running that, or did he?
No, he's a huge part of it. Yeah.
I think he bought the rights to the name.
He's only a partial owner or something.
Gotcha.
One of the main guys. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew whenever it came back because it had been gone for years, and when it came back, he was a big player in that.
Mm-hmm.
He was a big reason why it came back.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that's awesome, dude.
And in recent news, Perry Strickland was actually out of the band for a month before it was announced. And when somebody finally talked to him about it, he says, "No, I didn't leave the band. I was fired."
Wow.
So I don't know exactly what happened.
I didn't know that.
But now they've got Zetro's boy Nick playing drums.
That must have been.
Okay, I did see that. I did see that.
You know, his band is Hatriot.
Yeah, that his other son.
Oh, they were both in it, I thought.
I talked to the one son at Walkie Metal Fest last year. His band played, but I didn't see him because I was seeing another band at the time. I can't remember. But Zetro was there for the Josta and Friends on the pre-party night, and they do like a free jam. And he was there for, jamming out with Josta and Friends, it was called.
Yeah, even in here, it says in February of 23, they announced Strickland had quit the band. Oh, the band later clarified that Strickland did not quit the band, implying that he was fired.
Yeah.
On February 5th of 24, Phil Demmel announced that he was leaving the band and that his final show with Vio Lence would be performing on February 11th. Leaving vocalist Sean Killian as the only constant member. It's crazy. In 2021, they announced Let the World Burn as the title of their new EP, which was planned for release in early 2022. Prior to its release, the band was scheduled to be headlining the 21 installment of the Headbangers Ball Tour in Europe with support from Voivod, Exciter, and Artillery. But it was postponed to the next year due to the circumstances from the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah, like I said, they just kept getting derailed, whether it was their own fault or not.
Right? Yeah, every time they tried to do something cool, it got shot down.
You know, it was just Murphy's Law.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just crazy. Crazy. But, talking about this album, though, this album has got so many killer riffs on it, and just, I don't know, the song, like, you can listen to this album, bell to bell, and it just keeps you entertained the whole time. I mean, there's not really a fucking snoozer on this whole album.
No.
Definitely no ballads.
No, that's for sure.
Only like 35 minutes or something. It's like
35 minutes. It's very short. It's very short, and everything's pretty heavy, I know listening to it again, here recently, I've listened to it a few times this week, and some of my highlights are Calling in the Corner. I dig the riffing in that and just the overall feel of the way the lyrics spill out. And then the TDS. I still don't know what the hell that means, but I like the song. It's fucking heavy and catchy, and it's just, I don't know. Everything on this album's really good.
Title track, man.
Oh, Kill on Command?
Yes.
Yes.
No, the title track. Eternal Nightmare.
Oh, the title track.
Opener,
oh, yeah. I thought you said the final track.
And that one,
yeah,
too,
the title track is killer.
I love the fucking choruses on that.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Yeah, every one of these are great. There's no filler.
The gang vocals, the way they kick in and out.
Yes. I mean, yeah, that is cool, dude.
I love that.
It was funny earlier today. I found the lyric sheet for the whole album. So I was listening to it and reading through the lyrics at the same time, and, very cool, but very dark lyrical content,
And to me, they just got such a punk rock vibe to them. And I don't know if that's because of his vocal style or what, but they just got a in your face, like a punk rock vibe to them.
I can see a touch of DRI in that too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Vocally, at least.
Mm-hmm.
I can give you that. There was another band that was similar. God, who was it? God, I don't remember who it was. It was somebody I had in my mind earlier today.
The Temptations?
Yeah, that's what it was. It's probably the Supremes.
Isaac Hayes.
Oh. No, maybe it was Lunatic. Maybe that's what it was.
Oh,
I always got them confused.
Yeah. Because they sing that song, Let's Get It On.
hello, children.
But, yeah. Hello, boys and girls. That's not a good song to sing to boys and girls. That's horrible. Horrible. But yeah, very cool, man. Andy, I'm glad you came up with this, man. This is a cool album to spend some time with.
It's kind of a cult classic. It's you
absolutely.
love it or you hate it, kind of.
Well, Vio Lence is a band that just flew under the radar for a lot of people that shouldn't.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And I was one of those people. I mean, I knew who they were. I just didn't really listen to them that much, But that's whenever you suggested this, I was like, oh, yeah. I don't really think about them guys that much.
Yeah, lots more suggestions.
But yeah. Oh, yeah. Good deal on these guys, man.
I think it's time we probably button this one up.
But you were talking about at the beginning, though. You were talking about members being in certain bands, and I don't, never really focused on that.
So, what I was really getting at was the whole Rob Flynn thing, how I didn't really realize that Rob Flynn was in this, and Rob Flynn was a big part of Forbidden, and right. Forbidden, it's kind of interesting, everybody thinks about Forbidden. They think about the album Forbidden Evil, but what a lot of people don't know is Forbidden's original name was Forbidden Evil, and they had to change it because, do you guys know why they changed it?
No, I don't know.
Because they thought that people would think they were a black metal band with a name like Forbidden Evil. So they changed it to Forbidden.
Craig Cicero has a black parent, but that's the only black I know of in that band.
Boom. He's here all week, folks.
So when was Forbidden Evil? When was it released? Is that like 88?
I thought it was 87.
So
now black metal, I don't even feel like was much of a thing. It was like proto black metal, really.
Well, I mean, what they called black metal back then wasn't
Venom,
what we think
Celtic
of.
Frost.
Yeah, it wasn't what we think of now.
Right,
for black
Bathory.
metal.
Yeah, they actually formed in 1985 as Forbidden Evil, but would change their name in 1987 since their formation. Forbidden have broken up and reformed twice with numerous line changes. But I had read in here somewhere, but the reason why they changed the name is because they thought it would make them seem like a black metal band, and they didn't want to. They didn't want to be under that moniker. Because I kind of went in and because I remember Forbidden, I remember that first album, and I remember when they toured for that. I ended up missing their show in St. Louis, but every one of my buddies went to that show, and
that's one I've never caught.
Who was on that bill?
I don't remember because I wasn't there. But you guys know my buddy Clint,
right?
Him and Steve Russell, and I think it may have been Steve Bouchard may have been with them too. But they all got to go out with the guys from Forbidden, and they went over to the park and was playing soccer with them and shit.
Nice.
I was like, dude, what a fucking memory to have.
Nice.
But,
Totally.
Yeah, and I ended up missing that. I don't even know why I missed it.
You were just lame.
I was. I still am. I haven't changed much.
But going back to Vio Lence, though, I don't really. I would like to know how many times they've actually played in St. Louis. I bet it's very few.
Probably.
Unless you count Full Terror Assault, which wasn't St. Louis.
That wasn't St. Louis, but for them
close,
to come around,
but
they didn't come around a lot. You know what I mean?
They didn't tour much. Period.
That's why when I got to see 23,
it's funny.
bucket list.
I just happened to hit Vio Lence toured throughout 88 and 89 in support of Eternal Nightmare with bands such as Testament, Voivod, Death Angel, Sanctuary, Nuclear Assault. Ooh, hadn't thought about them in a while. DRI, MOD, and the Cro-Mags.
That's a great lineup of bands to go see.
They fit in that crossover
category. Yeah. How'd you like to see that on one show?
God, that'd be amazing.
Time machine show.
Totally, completely.
Yeah, it's funny. Talking about Sanctuary.
They're one of those bands I never got into that much.
I have more in the recent years.
Well, I got into them.
Also,
I got into them because of Steve. And I don't know what the hell was that? Oh, what was that one album that got
Refuge Denied?
Yeah.
Yes.
That was. Yeah, that's the only one I'm familiar with by them.
The other one, what's the one?
Yeah, that was like their first album.
That's their first one.
Yeah.
The second
Refuge
one's even
Denied.
better. Their second one's even better.
Refuge Denied is the one that all of us had, and man, I listened to the shit out of that.
It's Killer World.
I haven't heard that in forever, dude. But I've got a little bit of Sanctuary. Like when I'm at work, I've got stuff playing on my iTunes, and occasionally Sanctuary will pop up.
Yeah, their second album I like even better. What is the name of that second?
Here, I got it right here. Into the Mirror Black.
I remembered liking him. I just wasn't a big fan of the vocalist.
Oh, yeah. Well, Dan, you don't like him?
Into the Mirror Black was the second
Not
album.
back in the day. It's been a while since I've heard him.
Then, of course, they've went on, or Nevermore.
Yeah.
Came out of that.
Which I'm not a fan of Nevermore, really.
I like them, too. I seen them in Walkie Metal Fest in 95 when we were there.
I tell you what's crazy, band that I was into for a while back in the day was Candlemass.
Dude, that's funny you say that because I've talked to Jim about this. We discovered them on that Hard and Heavy video back in the day when we were 14.
Yeah.
I got a bigger stomach.
And we made fun of them because of his opera vocals.
Yeah,
but I told Jim just within the last few years, I've gotten so into that band. Their first 4 albums are so fucking good.
Oh, they are.
I love
the first album I got. First album I got from them was that one. It's called Nightfall, I think is the name of it. Is that their second album? Yeah, that's the one I ended up picking up, and man, I just fell in love with it, dude. I was really big into that kind of, because I was always a huge King Diamond fan,
Right. Well,
and I'm not saying this guy's King Diamond, but very operatic, like you say,
right. And we made fun of them back when we were 14, but the last
I looked at it as he was a step beyond a Bruce Dickinson.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Super
absolutely.
But I love it now, man. I love that shit.
Yeah.
Me and Jim were just talking about them a couple weeks ago. Something like that.
That's crazy. Yeah, I had seen something the other day that they were... so I follow them on Facebook, and I was seeing the other day that they're working on some live show dates. They've got a different singer now, of course.
They played last year at Hell's Heroes in Texas.
Okay.
And I think
I did
Maryland
see
Death
that.
Fest last year.
Okay.
Maybe Maryland Death Fest too. They played.
Nice.
That'd be a bucket list band to see.
I tell you, man, I'm a little pissy about missing this fucking Testament show, but
yeah,
I just can't. I just can't get out of it.
Cannibal and Meshuggah.
Dude, how was Carcass?
Carcass ruled.
I don't think I've ever seen Carcass live.
Though. That was a bucket list band for me. I went because of them. I've seen Cannibal a million times. I've seen Meshuggah before. Love them all, but I've never seen Carcass, and I went just for them, and they were killer. They just didn't play long enough.
Yeah, I've listened to a lot of their stuff, but I've never seen them live.
Such an underrated band.
And I got a chance to see Carcass at Pops on their reunion tour back probably 15 years ago now.
Surgical Still, that was a good comeback, man. That's a great album.
Yeah.
And I've told Andy this story, but when I was working at Guitar Center back then, their roadie came in to get some supplies for the band that day. And I started talking to him and was asking, who you roadieing for? And we got to talking, and I was like, oh, dude, I love Carcass. So he put me on the list to go to see the show. I was like, okay, cool. So I go to Pops that night, and I'm standing back by the soundboard most all night because I figure I want to hear a good version.
Yeah, a good mix. Yeah.
Good mix of the band, and where else is better than by the soundboard, because that's where everything's tuned, okay?
Right.
So I'm standing back there, and, they come out, and they're just amazing. And then in between, I'm hearing this buzzing sound, and then it would stop, and I could tell it was coming from the guitar amps. And I didn't know what the hell was going on. and then but it was obnoxious. At least sometimes it was. So then I was talking with that guitar tech later on that night that I met earlier the day that got me on the list. Yeah. He goes, so what did you think? And I go, oh, dude, they were amazing. He said, but I have to ask, what was the deal with that buzzing I heard in between? And he just started laughing. He goes, oh, that's these new Randall heads that we're using. Because if you remember back in the day, Randall had marketed this line of heads that had these modular units inside them that had different preamps based upon, like Kirk Hammett had one, George Lynch had one, all these different famous guitar players had them that they paid to have dialed into for their tones. And he said that it's those amps, man, they make all this noise. You have to hit them in the side of the head with a hammer. Oh, and then the buzzing stops. And I was just like,
that's what I was just going to say. That. Gotta hit it with a hammer.
Inside joke there, folks.
Billy Milano reference.
Yeah. But but totally it sounded amazing. He goes, he said the buzzing doesn't affect it when they're playing. It's just when they stop and it's in between songs. And I was just like, man, that's fucked up. You think they would have had better gear? Because no, that's what they had when they came over. I was like, okay.
That's crazy.
And they said that
couldn't you fix that with a noise gate or something?
It was too much for a noise gate.
Oh, it was too much for a noise gate. I got you.
It would have triggered it. But they always said that they would never get back together until Zeppelin did. And that was right after Zeppelin did that reunion show.
That's awesome.
I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, that's a cool story, man. Hell yeah.
But I love going to pops and
seeing shows.
Yeah, they were great. They just didn't play long enough when I seen them.
Yeah.
They,
and you look at a band like that, and it's like, I'm sorry, Carcass could fucking headline their own tour.
Yeah, because if you think about it, they're pioneers. They're the band that really sparked the whole gore grind subgenre.
Right.
And then and with Heartwork in '93, they sparked the melodic death metal genre. So they're like pioneers in two death metal subgenres that kind of get overlooked. You know what I mean?
They put the boogie in death metal on that.
Yeah, very influential band.
Yeah. And it's weird, because you think about them and it's like, man, they could be headlining and they're not knocking it, but they're opening for Cannibal and Meshuggah.
Yeah. And the Cannibal and Meshuggah were great, but I just have never seen Carcass, so that's the only reason I went to that show. I wouldn't have went if Carcass wasn't there.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm with you. I've seen Cannibal a handful of times, man. The last time, and it was funny. I tell people this story all the time. I went over. They were playing at Pops one night, and I went over, and fucking Derek was there. Old Derek Miner, and I walk in. He's like, "Hey, Gerald, come here." And he's standing there talking to a guy, and I hadn't really paid much attention. We're talking for a minute. And he was like, "Oh, hey, here, man, say hey to Alex." And I fucking turn around, and as I looked at the guy, it's fucking Alex Webster he's standing there talking to, and I'm like, what the fuck? He was standing right by the front. He was standing right by the front door. He had a pair of glasses on because he wears glasses normally. He had a pair of glasses on, and his hair was all pulled back. I totally didn't fucking recognize the guy, and I'm like, holy shit, dude! I stood there and talked to him for a good half hour, man. He's super cool guy.
Derek had an inside with that band he told me about years ago because his dad moved to Florida and used to go to the same bar as Pat O'Brien and were drinking buddies with him.
So no shit.
He said that, his dad said, "What's that name of that band you like?" And he told him it was Cannibal. He liked them already. And he's like, "Oh, okay." He goes, "Well, I drink with so-and-so." And Derek was just like, "What? No way." And then he said like a week or two later, he gets a box in the mail with like a care package from the band with all these T-shirts and hoodies and
dude,
CDs
that's badass.
Stuff. So that was probably the reason why he knew all those guys.
Yeah, I mean, he was just standing there talking to him like they've been buddies forever, and then he called me over there, and because I mean, I've been a huge fan of fucking Alex's ever since the first time I heard him. Alex is by far one of my favorite bass players.
He's a Steve dude. I'm metal.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, if you haven't done it, man, you have got to listen to that Conquering Dystopia I mean, you think he fucking shines on Cannibal stuff? You should hear him in that Conquering Dystopia, man. It's fucking killer. Yeah, absolutely, dude. They're so good. And it's almost like a super group. I'm not sure who the other guys are in the band, but like the guitar players are like way high level, you know.
Right.
I mean, fuck, you know. It's crazy. I did see a cool video of, you know, I'm a big fan of Victor Wooten. I like bass players, you know, and I like all kinds of music. And there's actually a video on the internet of Victor Wooten and Alex Webster playing together. That's kind of cool.
That would be interesting to see, for sure.
Yeah, because, you know, Victor Wooten, you can play anything, you know. I mean, the guy's like one of the fucking best bass players in the fucking world, you know. And it's him and Alex playing together. And I think, Steve Bailey is there too. And I think there's somebody else there. I don't remember, but it's a cool video. I have really been into DiGiorgio here lately. I watch a lot of his shit, dude. That guy is like so impressive.
And by the way, that guitar player you were referring to was Jeff Loomis. So no wonder.
Okay. Gotcha.
Loomis was the guy that was pegged almost to be in Megadeth, but he was too young.
Dr. Loomis.
Really?
Evil is in your town.
Yeah, he went up to Dave to audition.
Death has come to your small town.
And he was 17 at the time, and Dave took one look at him and was like, dude, you're going to be just fine. He said, but you're too young right now.
Yeah.
Hey, Gerald, speaking of DiGiorgio, do you ever listen to Autopsy's first album, Severed Survival?
I don't think so. What is it? Hold on. Let me write.
Severed Survival. It's their first album, which actually I seen at Milwaukee Metal Fest last year.
I'm sorry. What was that again?
Autopsy, Severed Survival.
I didn't know he was on that.
Yep, I seen them play that in entirety at Milwaukee Metal Fest last May.
That's awesome.
But yeah, he was on the original. And of course, Sadist. You know.
Yeah. Well, you know, first time I ever saw him, of course, was with Death.
And Scream Bloody Gore. Or no?
Yeah,
He was on Scream Bloody Gore too, right? The first one.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
He was on that album recording, and then he was with them on Individual Thought Patterns.
Individual Thought Patterns was the one I was thinking of. Yeah. But I think, man,
I think he was on.
Now you got me wondering.
On Scream Bloody Gore too. I think he was just.
I'm pretty sure because Scream Bloody Gore was the first album I heard from them. Again, because of Steve. And I fell in love with them like.
What was that, 84?
Immediately.
Gore was 87.
87. Came out in May of 87. Let me see here.
I'm pretty sure he was on the original recording of that. Because him and Chuck had a connection from way back.
No, Chuck did the bass on that first album.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
He jammed with them before. He jammed with them before that, though. I know there was a chance he could have been on that album.
Yeah, it says it released on May 25th, 1987 by Combat Records. It is considered by many to be the first true death metal record. Chuck Schuldiner, the band's co-founder and leader, performed guitar, bass, and vocals and composed all tracks on the album. Yeah, I think
he jammed with them before that.
bassist Steve DiGiorgio, who had previously played with the band as it shared practice space with Sadist, recorded bass on a test pressing of the album.
All right. Just think if he would have been on the first Death, the first Autopsy.
Sadist, can you imagine that being the first for all of these?
A later Death, Testament, like Sadist. All the things he's been on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also he played on the latest Megadeth.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I did know that. But yeah, you got to hear Autopsy, Severed Survival. You know, plays the fretless on there. It gives it. The production is.
This is fucking cool. It's fucking crazy when you look at his fucking resume. So he has played in bands such as Sadist, Death, Testament, Megadeth, Sebastian Bach, Iced Earth, Autopsy, Obituary, Control Denied, Dragon Lord, and Charred Walls of the Damned. Jesus Christ.
Which I think the drummer in that was
Richard Christie.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, Richard Christie
and Ripper
and Tim Ripper Owens on vocals.
Yeah.
God, I need to check them out.
Hey, Gerald, did you ever check out Blotted Science?
Yes. Dude, I haven't heard about them in forever.
I've only heard about them through Jim. I have that.
Ron Jarzombeck and his brother are like amazing musicians. And this is Ron's little pet project. Chris Adler played in it for a minute also.
Really?
That's crazy.
And
yeah, Blotted Science, man. I hadn't heard about them in a while.
Instrumental, but like technical, progressive thrash.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to really categorize it as one thing, but it's definitely metal.
Real progressive.
Yeah.
And and there's been a time where I've kind of went away from I listened to a lot of instrumental stuff. Back when I was doing the Fatality and Heavy Ground stuff, we were always death metal or die, and I got to the point where I was trying to find a lot of instrumental stuff because I was getting burnt out on the vocal style, and that's why whenever you guys approached me about coming to Lunatic, I was so excited about doing it because I always wanted to jam with you guys because Harry's got that fucking vocal style that I just love, and
for sure.
I'm just gonna throw it out there. I fucking miss some days. I miss hanging out with you fuckers.
Same.
That's why I'm glad we're doing this.
Same.
Well,
At least we still get to talk.
away.
Yeah, I hear you.
Once the rivers subside, we'll have to.
Yeah, once I can get across the river, I might come see you. But yeah, dude, there's so much music out there, and so much music out there, and so many good times. It's crazy. What the hell is have you guys heard of a jazz band called Dark Hall?
Yes.
No.
I've never heard of that, but apparently Steve DiGiorgio plays bass on that.
I've heard the name, but that's about as far as I could take it.
I have never heard of that. That's crazy.
DiGiorgio is a hired gun, similar to like the guys in Toto
and Hoagland.
Except he's usually more in the metal scene, but he'll go wherever he needs to.
Oh my God, he's in this with drummer Chris Dugan.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Dugan's the drummer for Green Day.
Really?
Yeah.
Weird.
What the hell?
Huh. That's like two worlds collide.
And a saxophone flute player, Flamp Servani.
What
Savari?
kind of skin flute or what kind of flute?
I don't. I don't know. Dude. I don't know. Piccolo on these nuts.
Pickle whistling.
Dude, I may have to check that out too. Dark Hall.
Pickle whistling going on.
Doc Hall. Hell yeah. Right on, fellas. Right on.
Well,
good times, man.
Well, that was
we kind of sidetracked at the end, but it was all good.
Yeah, hell yeah. Look at that. We got the CD, we got the T-shirt. Wow. Man, what a mouth you have.
Wow. That's like Mick Jagger on acid.
Yeah. Hey, that's what I look like when I'm at McDonald's. No. But yeah, Eternal Nightmare. If you guys haven't listened to it in a while, pick it up and listen to it, man. Spin that thing because it's definitely a killer album.
It's thrash as fuck. It's
the
definition of thrash.
That's it. That's the new slogan. It's thrash as fuck.
Thrash as fuck. It's a thrashterpiece. The definition of thrash.
Thrashterpiece.
Thrashterpiece.
There you go.
Hell yeah. All right, folks. We'll come up with something because I got some ideas, but it's actually Jimmy's turn to pick. I'm
gonna go with throwing this out here. Gross Misconduct by MOD.
Okay.
That's a different pick, but I haven't listened to that in a long time, but I love that album. But Honestly, I haven't heard that.
Every song on there is hilariously good.
I haven't heard that album in years.
Comedy metal at its finest.
I own it, so I'll bust it out.
I honestly was gonna fucking suggest a Rob Flynn triplet here, but yeah, we can do that. That's all good too. Hell yeah.
You talking about Forbidden Evil?
Yeah, we could do Forbidden and Machine Head.
I was thinking about picking Forbidden, but I was gonna do that maybe next time if I got around and hadn't been picked yet.
Hey, one that's gonna be on deck for me is Anacrusis Manic Impression.
Dude, that is such a good album. Dude.
Ken Nardi was just on Eddie Trump talking about he redoes all these albums and remixes them and stuff. He was doing a Kiss live record, Kiss Meets the Elder.
I got him on some
Kiss Meets the Elder
Facebook page.
Yeah, or not Meets the Elder, The Elder. He did Kiss Meets the Phantom also. He
Kiss Meets the Phantom. I knew about that.
It's up on YouTube. You can check it out.
I'm on a Facebook page with him, a Kiss Facebook page of Ken Nardi's. And then also I went to see Coroner here not too long ago, and I seen Kevin and John from the Anacrusis. I talked to them briefly.
John used to come into my store all the time. He had an electronics store, and I would have to give him the gear to get worked on once a week. So I got to know him a little bit.
It's kind of funny. His favorite Anacrusis is Manic Impression also.
I can see that.
Wow. Hell yeah.
All their albums are great, but that one is just...
And Ken said he was retired now, so...
Ken? Well, he was doing solo stuff.
I know. He just he works in his own time at what he wants to do.
Yeah.
So I was like, that must be nice.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Right on. All right, guys. Well, we're going to end this for tonight. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for talking a little violence with us and a little Eternal Nightmare.
Remember to talk violence. Don't act out violence.
Remember to talk shit and don't do it in your pants.
Unless they're down.
I'm down with that. But anyway, guys, until next time, keep it metal.